you are giving a visual memory to the examiner that yes, I do know about these things. There you can highlight certain kind of universities which were important, how India was integrated or related to Southeast Asia, how to Africa or the eastern part of Africa, how to Arabia. Let's say question might be asked regarding the Pallava architecture. There was an evolution of Pallava architecture. Now different kings ke reign mein there were different features that were incorporated. Certain probable question based upon those themes. And also it is providing you certain kind of hints. What this particular hints are doing, that this is helping you to do the brainstorming. Now when you are doing the brainstorming, you are going to get certain clues. Now arrange those clues in a prioritized manner and your answer is ready. Okay, hello, good afternoon everyone. I am Vishal Salsekar and today we are going to discuss the approach for the general studies history subject from the perspective of Mains 2025. So when it comes to history, the aspirant in general faces multiple issues regarding the preparation from the Mains perspective. So let's first categorize that what are the issues that an aspirant faces for the preparation of the Mains examination from the perspective of history, and what can be the solution for this. And eventually in this particular discussion, we will also talk about the importance of the updated value added material, that how that material is going to benefit you for the preparation perspective. So let's first discuss about what are the issues faced by the students for the preparation of history subject, right? So when we are categorizing the issue, the first important issue that as an aspirant you might be facing is to transition from the prelims to mains. Now from the prelims to mains, when you are doing the transition, one important issue that you might be facing, that prelims is comparatively factual in nature. Not necessarily factual, but yes, comparatively it is based upon certain kind of fact. Now that facts may be based upon certain concepts, the facts may be based upon certain kind of event, the facts may be based upon certain dynasties, the facts may be based upon certain themes, but yes, those particular themes are arranged in certain manner that will be clearly understandable to you when you are reading that particular question, because the answer is also in front of you. So basically when you are reading those particular things, even from the options, sometimes the things will click to you. But when it comes to the mains examination, it's not necessarily that every time you are going to get the chronology in that particular manner only. Let's say we do know about the freedom struggle and the contribution from the different sections of the society. But when it comes to the contribution from the side of women in the freedom struggle or the nationalism or the rise of nationalism perspective, we do know that the women have contributed immensely, not only during the INC time period, even pre-1857, post-1857, after the Swadeshi movement, after the arrival of Gandhiji, in different phases women have contributed significantly. But this is not it. Even in the revolutionary movements also women have contributed significantly. So basically when we are preparing for the mains examination, this 360-degree analysis is important. So basically a student have to think from the 360-degree perspective, that whether if there is any specific topic asked, am I not biased towards certain kind of specific event only? If that is not only restricted to that question, let's say in this question the contribution was asked with respect to freedom struggle. So you have to talk about all the strands of the freedom struggle. It's not only about one specific movement. Okay? So basically when it comes to the mains examination, there have to be 360-degree coverage from the thematic perspective, and not just the chronology, right? So not just the chronology wala aspect. The next important issue with respect to the history, since history is too vast, right? So basically it is too vast to cover. When it comes to the ancient history, it is specifically a subject, medieval history, then the modern history, then even the post-independence, even the world history. And do we know that which particular area UPSC will be emphasizing for this particular year? Yes be or no be? Yes, because there are certain kind of trends that we are able to get. So So from the PYQs, we can analyze that these are the certain themes. If you have an idea about these particular themes, then definitely you will be in a position to solve the question based upon the facts, data, examples and substantiation based upon those particular pointers. So as it is too vast, so if you are just relying upon certain standard sources, which is like giving you कि ancient history के लिए read this, medieval के लिए read this, modern के लिए read this, post independence, world history. Now in this manner you are not integrating all these kind of things. But what if the question is asked, let's say the question is asked about the linguistic basis पे reorganization of states, pre-independence also, post-independence also. Now the first part you are going to read in the modern history, the second part you are going to read in the post-independence history. We do not read this simultaneously. On one day you might be reading, after 10 days you might be reading other thing. Now how you are going to integrate? So basically what you need to do, even if it is too vast, there have to be the preparation in the aspect of themes. So basically those particular themes should be also interlinking. Interlinking themes across subjects, right? So it should be across subjects, there should be interlinking of those particular themes. Because sometimes the kind of acts that the British East India Company laid down, for example, from 1773 till 1858, and even after that till the Government India Act of 1935, all these were the building blocks of the constitution also, because they inspired constitution in some way or other. So they will be important from the polity perspective also. So whenever the question, let's say if it is in polity or let's say it is in history, so you can integrate both the things. So basically you have to also talk about this. But the vastness is providing another issue, is that how to complete in less amount of time. So how to complete in limited time. The next important difficulty while interacting with student, I got to know that there are a lot of facts, there are a lot of events, there are a lot of examples. Let's say if there is a question about the role of vernacular press in India in raising the national conscience. Now there will be certain kind of vernacular newspapers that you have to put. There will be certain kind of events, like let's say the Swadeshi movement after the partition of Bengal, or let's say the Quit India movement, or any other movement that you have to put. You have to give the examples that how those particular vernacular newspapers has led to the revolutionary conscience. And while writing that, if the UPSC or let's say somebody is asking you that what kind of policies British government had taken, so you also have to have an awareness about these things. If you do not know about those particular things, definitely you are not going to get good marks, क्योंकि आपने substantiation नहीं किया है. So we can say that there are lack of substantive value addition. That is also lacking, because for the prelims it's not necessary, answer is in front of you only, you just have to eliminate the statement or get the correct answer. But here in the mains examination you have to do all these kind of things. Another difficulty is with respect to the answer writing. Now having understood about certain kind of important themes, now somebody is asking you to write the answer. So you have to recollect all these things at one place, you have to do the brainstorming, you have to prioritize those particular pointers, you have to give the examples, you have to follow all these kind of things. Now one difficulty you are facing, that gathering and writing about those particular things takes a lot of time. So this is also a practical difficulty that as a student you are facing. Another difficulty is with respect to the current affairs integration. Now see, the subject history generally is considered that there will be only the questions that are going to be asked about the static part, right? But ऐसा नहीं होता. UPSC keeps on asking certain kind of questions which are comparatively more important if there is any kind of context attached to it. So there is also a need to integrate certain current affairs specifically from the culture perspective. Basically, the document that I am going to discuss about the value added document that integrates these particular things. So we'll discuss about this current affair, but this current affairs preparation is lacking with respect to the kind of complementing it with the static part of history. This is also one such difficulty. Last but not the least is the presentation. Because see, basically what happens whenever we are reading any specific book, generally those books do not provide any kind of idea about how the map should be arranged, how the facts should be written, how the chronology can be made, how the mind maps can be created. So presentation is also a very important aspect, and when you have to write the answer, if you are not presenting it in a good manner to the examiner, definitely you are not going to get comparatively good marks, because other person is going to put up a lot of things on the presentation. Let's say it is a kind of linear flow, or let's say certain kind of circular flow, or let's say the map of India, or let's say any other thing with respect to that, and that particular thing can be talked about. So I'll give another example of the question. Let's say if the question is about that India was at the crossroads of the global highways in the ancient history that led to the cultural influence across the globe. Matlab how the position of India had led the Indian influence across the globe, and also the global things to impact and influence India. Now in this particular thing, if you can draw the map of India, you can relate that Upper Central Asia, here it is like the countries like Persia, then there is Mediterranean you can relate to, then in the eastern side it is China. So basically what you are doing, you are giving a visual memory to the examiner that yes, I do know about these things. There you can highlight certain kind of universities which were important, how India was integrated or related to Southeast Asia, how to Africa or the eastern part of Africa, how to Arabia. So basically all these kind of things are going to give you an idea about. So these are the difficulty which we are facing with respect to the subjects like history. Now when it comes to the providing solution of this, so basically there is a document that is being released by VisionIAS with respect to the history value added material. So how history value added material is simplifying your preparation from the mains perspective. So basically it is covering in a very limited number of pages, let's say 100 and 105 pages, it is completing the entire history. Now how it is covering the entire history? Basically it is avoiding any kind of repetition and providing you the thematic coverage based upon the topics which are very, very important. How we have identified, there have been a decent analysis of the previous year's question, and through that particular thing we came to know that yes, these particular themes are important for this particular year's examination. So there will be coverage of all the important themes which are relevant, and when I'm talking about theme, it is not necessarily that only the chronology is being provided, it is even apart from chronology a lot of extra things like the contribution of women, the contribution of different sections of society in the freedom movement, the rise of the nationalism, all these kind of things specifically is being talked about. Otherwise you will be getting those things in a scattered manner at different resources, right? And before the prelims you can't afford to again go through the multiple resources. So this one shot solution is going to provide you a lot of important information with respect to the subject. Then there is a thematic arrangement with the present relevance also. So let's say the monsoon's role in the ancient India and how monsoon is impacting presently in the India, because right now also we are a lot dependent on monsoon. For 1 year if there is bad monsoon, there are a lot of difficulties for the farmers, right? So in that particular case, but how it had influenced the ancient India? Now there is no such topic you are going to get in the standard resources. Through different study of different resources and different time period, you are going to get that what are the basically role of the monsoon in the ancient India. But here you are getting all these kind of things, let's say agrarian economy, maritime trade, historical change, Indian culture. All these things are needed from the side of UPSC when they are asking question about these. Similarly, the more modern relevance of the Indus Valley civilization, that there was a civilization which was way advanced than the time period it existed. So how it is influencing, let's say urban planning, let's say right angle cut to the roads or the crossroads, right? Then there are drainage system which were properly covered, multi-storing buildings were there. Basically there were the burned brick utilization which was not even utilized for some time period even after that civilization. Okay? So basically all these are placed at one place only with multiple dimensions including the environmental lessons, economic principles. So basically it is covering the entire 360-degree aspect. So basically apart from the presentative tool it is providing, it is also giving you a lot of value. The 360-degree multidimensional perspective is being provided to you. Apart from that, as we are talking about that, the name of this material is the value added material, VAM. Basically, this particular material is adding a lot of value to your content enrichment and also eventually in your answer. So basically, as this is a small material, comparatively it is giving you a more opportunity to ensure concise and multiple revision, so that in a thematic manner you are doing comparatively more revision. Then there is the high impact value addition. Basically, as I have shown you certain diagrams, and I'll show you the material also, there will be thematic coverage based upon the high value topics, and that particular thing with the examples, fact, data, these things are there. Lastly, the current affairs integration, which is very important thing. So current affairs are also integrated. Otherwise क्या होता है कि we are preparing current affairs in silo and also the static portion in silo. So basically like this, the current affairs, so let's say the Marathi has been recognized as one of the classical language this particular year. There is high probability that UPSC can ask the question about the classical language. So that particular thing is provided. There is criteria provided. What is the criteria for recognizing any language as the classical language? Similarly, there is a traditionally built ship which is INSV Kaundanya, which is inducted in the Indian Navy, right? And that particular thing is also being highlighted. So the naval contribution of India to the world, so from the time period of Shivaji, or even we can trace back to the Indus Valley time period, the Lothal and the maritime sector of India. Then we can also talk about the Cholas, Pallavas and Cholas. Then we can also talk about the contribution from the side of Shivaji, and then how that particular thing led to the development of modern navy. So this kind of coverage you can get over here, and you can expect these particular kind of themes also, right? So this gives you certain kind of mental memory and mental mapping. Then DIY practice approach, do it yourself. Basically this is document is providing you certain probable question based upon those themes, and also it is providing you certain kind of hints. What this particular hints are doing, that this is helping you to do the brainstorming. Now when you are doing the brainstorming, you are going to get certain clues. Now arrange those clues in a prioritized manner and your answer is ready. So basically like you see DIY kits. So basically this is also a DIY kit for the history related aspect. So you can see the questions are being asked, the pointers are being provided. Now this in one word is equal to one specific line with respect to this, right? Next, with respect to this is the presentational tool. So apart from this, which we have discussed above, there are also specific emphasis on the presentational aspect, right? So there is a aspect of the Ashokan pillar structures, right, and the features. So basically what all things this particular Ashokan pillar had done, let's say the symbolism, let's say the material used, let's say the abacus, let's say the polish component capital. So it is providing. So there is a question about comparing the Ashokan pillars to the Achaemenian pillars. So basically you can make these particular things to depict the features of Ashokan pillars. You can make a kind of like table for making the differentiation from the Ashokan pillar to the Achaemenian pillar. Similarly, if the question is asking about the Buddhist structures or certain kind of architectures, you can even talk about the stupa. Now this kind of stupa diagram can be made, obviously not like the intricate carving that you have to show, but just to give an idea about how different parts are there in the stupa. UPSC had asked the question about it. Similarly, Sangam period literature, there are certain literature which are commonly known, right? So Ittutogai is there, Pattu Pattu is there, Tirukkural is there, there are epics like Silapadikaram, Manimekalai. So basically what you can do like this, you can make even the flow chart like the first Sangam, second Sangam, third Sangam, which are the personalities who presided that particular Sangam if there is a question about it. So that adds the value, and this document is providing you those kind of values. Similarly, the theme rise of nationalism. Now eventually in different pointers you are getting. So let's say when you are talking about education, there is a separate topic of education. Socio-religious reform, separate topic of reform. Now here in this manner you are getting in a flow chart all the pointers of the rise of nationalism. Now can't you just replicate the similar kind of things in the examination? So basically it is also helping you a lot with respect to the answer writing and incorporating the innovative tools in the answer writing. Is it clear? Okay. So basically now when we had discussed the issues that a student faces with respect to the preparation for the mains examination. Now this particular document, which is the value added document, you can see this particular document, this is solving all your issues with respect to this. And even this is not only talking about the modern, this is also talking about the ancient, medieval, modern, even including the world history and the important themes of the post independence. So all the important aspects from all the aspects of the history are being covered over here. Now you can see these kind of flow charts, diagrams, blocks that are being provided, that can be as it is replicated in your answers, and that will eventually help you, because this resource is roughly 100 and something pages are there, 110 pages, less than that only, and revising that will be comparatively easy. That will take hardly 5 to 6 hours to read and then revise even at a quicker speed. So basically one resource for entire history section, revise it multiple times, and then you will be having a lot of command over the content, which is the issue that are being highlighted by the students. So let's now see that whatever issues we had highlighted with respect to the preparation, whether all these things are getting solved with this particular document or not. With respect to the facts, events, example, value addition, this particular document is providing you the perfect opportunity to solve all these things. Then the 2 hours history is compressed in roughly 110 pages, is a good thing, and also there is comparatively a kind of like ROI is very high, return on investment is very high. Thematic coverage is there, and limited time you can complete it multiple times. Then presentational tools are incorporated, it will be giving you a very good to go for the answer writing things. Current affairs integration, a lot of current affairs wala things are also provided, and even this is the most updated material that you can get for the history. Answer writing, this document specifically focuses on the PYQs and also gives you certain kind of DIY which you will be incorporating in your preparation. Then lastly, because we are shifting now from the prelims to mains, this is giving you 360-degree coverage of a theme, which is even the need of the question, because whenever the question is there, let's say I'm giving you another question. Let's say question might be asked regarding the Pallava architecture. There was an evolution of Pallava architecture. Now different kings ke reign mein there were different features that were incorporated. Like during the time period of Mahendravarman, there were caves or the rock cut caves. Then during the time period of Narasimhavarman I, there was the rock cut, certain kind of monolithic structures were there like the rathas. But then there were, during the time period of Rajsimha, there was a certain kind of further developments which led to the development of the structural temples. And then eventually subsequent developments were incorporated by Chola. And these are the kind of questions that UPSC focuses upon. So when we are talking about covering these things in the manner that I have just now explained, you should be very sure that the material that you are referring to is the good to go source for that. And you can rely for the mains examination on the value added material, because this is going to give you the quick solution for all the issues with respect to history. Now, having discussed the importance how to access this particular material, right? So basically, in order to access the material, what you need to do, you need to go to the VisionIAS website, go to the mains corner or the value added material for general studies. There you will get the history related section in GS1, where you can download this particular document and then utilize this document a lot for the preparation of the history section of GS1. Apart from that, there is document for his geography, society, and for other subjects also the materials are there. For some it is already available, for some it will be updated in a few days. But definitely it is going to give a lot of boost to your preparation if you do not have such consolidated notes, or even if you do have, there will be a lot of extra addition that is incorporated in this particular document. So believe me, this particular document is giving you a head start for the preparation. Now having discussed this, now to further accelerate, there are certain other programs like there is Lakshya Mentoring, there is All India Test Series, there is also the PYQ Plus Test Series, which is basically based upon the PYQ, so that you will be getting an actual idea about how UPSC's thought process is, right? Apart from that, there will be Abhyas also soon, so try to take that particular test and assess yourself in the real exam like simulation. Okay? So I hope that the approach for the history from the examination perspective and how that particular approach is integrating this value added material is clear to you, and thank you everyone. Best of luck for this examination.